Welcome back. It is Saturday, July 1st in the MLB. Our three favorite picks are on the way. It's Austin, joined by a guy that's very lucky to be in July. It is our man, Logan. And let's talk about yesterday, though, real quick. It was another 2-in-1 day, and we will never complain about a profitable day, our third straight in a row. Let's talk about it. You had the D-backs team total over 4, sweat-free. I think they cashed in the second, third inning for you. Then we had the Twins team total over 4, sweat-free. They got it done. And then Padres money line, oh, man, Logan, I know you're happy to be out of June because you had some brutal beats all month long. Padres went into extras, went into the 10th. We're up 4-2, bottom of the 10th, and they gave up a 2-run homer, end up losing in the 11th. I bet the Reds money line value was probably like plus 1,000 at that point. But either way, a 2-in-1 day is nothing to complain about. As I said yesterday, I'm in California, so we're recording this at 5 a.m. bright and early for you all. But hopefully we deliver some more winners. And I do actually want to take a step back, Logan, and provide some stats to the people out there because, yeah, we're always transparent. June sucked. Let's recap it. Down 13.95 units. I mean, you guys see the scrolling ticker at the bottom. That's our full season record, up 16.6. But yeah, it wasn't a great month. We had some really bad beats in there. And Logan can attest to that. We had some really we had probably, I would say, like 10 to 15 picks, but felt like it could have gone our way. But just something at the end of the game. That's baseball. You're going to have some brutal losses in there, and hopefully we have some of those, great wins to balance it out. We didn't feel like we had a lot of those this month. But I do want to take a step back even further and go back to last year. July 1st, the same exact day, 2022, we were up plus 10.98 units on the year. We finished over 50 on the season. So we clearly turned it around, turned it on the second half of the year. That's when the lines get super sharp. And that's when you kind of don't want to be betting, the Braves and Dodgers and all those money line parlays day in and day out, because that's when those teams kind of just steal a lot of money for some people. And honestly, it's funny, the parallels of this year versus last year, because we actually didn't have a good June last year. And we ended June with 3 straight winning days. Very similar to what happened this year. So let's hopefully duplicate that 50.97 units. We will not complain if we can do that again this year. But without further ado, let's dive into our favorite picks. But first, I do want to talk about our friends at BetFred, where you can get $111 in bonus bets if you just wager $50. You can even get up to $1,000 back over 5 weeks. All the links down below. It's available in Maryland, Ohio, Arizona, and Iowa. Take advantage. All the details are down below. But you guys came here for picks, and that's what we're going to deliver to you. And I'm going to start with the first one of the day. It's going to be an interesting one. I don't expect a lot of people to like it. I'm going to be taking the Mets on the first 5 run line -0.5. So we need, if you want to go to the Mets like first 5 money line and get the push potential, you can. I just don't want to play that juice. And if you want to take the Mets full game money line, you can. But as we've seen time and time again, we can't trust the Mets full game. I mean, this is a team that consistently blows leads. That bullpen is just not something to trust. So we take this because we're avoiding the bullpen. And if the bullpen somehow comes into this game early in the first 5 for the Mets, probably a good chance we lost this one. But let's talk about why I'm backing the Mets out of all teams, because no one wants to back them these days. But I think we've got a good chance here. Now, let's talk about this game. And we're going to talk about Anthony DeSclafani, who's going to start for the Giants. Now, we need offense here. Obviously, the Mets cannot win this bet if we get 0 runs. So we need them to score some runs. And DeSclafani should provide some opportunities. 4.28 ERA and a 1.20 whip on the year. He's allowed 2 earned runs actually in 10 straight starts. So hopefully they can make that 11 straight, maybe even more. And you look at his last 3 road starts, been pretty bad. He allowed 4 or 5, then 4, which included 7 unearned runs, and then 3 earned runs. So the last 3 road starts have not been good for him, and I'm hopeful that this Mets offense can, actually see the baseball and actually do something with it. You look at DeSclafani's percentiles. We already talked about these that you find on Baseball Savant. He's got a lot of blue circles: 15th in expected batting average, 20th in hard hit percentage, 23rd in expected slugging, 12th in whiff percentage, and something I thought was interesting: 93rd in walk percentage. Not a guy that's going to walk too many guys, which is fine for us. I'd rather the Mets be trying to hit the ball instead of just trying to sit and wait for ball 4. I'd rather them go and swing at the baseball, and that's what we need them to do today. And the Mets have seen DeSclafani plenty of times. 114 total plate appearances across the whole team. You look at them, only a 20.2 K percentage on a 286 batting average. You look at some splits against Anthony DeSclafani. You see Francisco Lindor hitting 8 for 18, 444 with 3 homers. Pete Alonso 308 against him in 13 plate appearances with the homer. Tommy Pham 4 for 11. McNeil 3 for 13. Canna 2 for 5. Honestly, a big guy this offense is McNeil. He finally kind of got out of the groove the last 1, 2, 3, 4 games. He went on like a 5 or 6 game hitless streak. They need him. He's a pivotal part of that offense, a guy that's always normally on base all of last year. They need him to go out there and do it. And yesterday, the Mets won the first 5 3-2. So let's do it again. Now, yesterday, you also had the Mets 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Pete Alonso 0 for 4. Mark Canha went 0 for 4 as well. But it's not just going to be scoring runs against Anthony DeSclafani, because you can score as many runs as you want. all comes down to if your pitcher can hold it down. And we're going to need Justin Verlander to hold down the fort. And usually, if I were to say Justin Verlander is the guy we're backing, people would be like, hey, set it and forget it. Justin Verlander's the guy we trust. This year, he really hasn't been too trustworthy, and he's been anything but reliable in his 18th season. But you look at the roller coaster that Verlander's on. We look at the earned runs. Just look at them. 1, 6, 1, 6, 1, 4, 1, 4, and 0 earned runs in his last start. Naturally, you would think, Austin, you would normally are a guy that follows the roller coaster, and that would lead to a Verlander bad start today. And while Verlander bad start could come, I don't necessarily know if it's as much of the the roller coaster type game of Verlander, or more so the home road splits. You actually look at his last 5 or 6 starts, been rotating between home, then road, home, then road. And once you know, he's had a much better, track record at home this year. I mean, look at the stats, 2.70 ERA and a 1.03 whip at home, allowing just a 2.14 batting average. On the road, Verlander, 5.67 ERA, 1.44 whip, and a 2.87 batting average. So, I mean, Verlander's an old guy. Obviously, he probably would have preferred to sleep in his own bed. And I think at the end of the day, I think Verlander's going to come out here and pitch pretty well at home. They absolutely, this is a must win for the Mets. This team and their fans are borderline about to start going onto the field and start fighting probably Buck Showalter, if we're being honest. But I think the books are expecting Verlander to throw pretty well. You look at his strikeout prop sitting at 6.5. Well, I don't bet K props. I do want to look at that. It's like about minus 120-ish on the over. Look, Verlander's under that line in 4 straight, under in 7 of his last 8. So I know people are going to come out, probably hammer the under 6.5 Ks. So I'm not saying they're probably dumb and they're going to lose that one, but I think he's got to at least get close. And when you've seen Verlander get 6 or more Ks, get in the whiffs, he's allowed just 1 and 1 earned run. If Verlander can go out there, give us a 1 earned run, maybe 2 earned run type performance, we have a good chance of getting that up against Escafani if the Mets bats show up. So I know a lot of people probably won't like it. This was a long pick, but Mets first 5 run line is going to be my pick. But Logan, what are you going with today? You got a player prop, I heard.
I do have a player prop, and I'm going to Mackenzie Gore, and I'm taking his over 2.5 earned runs. He plays for the Washington Nationals. Minus 125 odds on DraftKings is currently your best value. Now, I know we're going to have some people that, like, if you play FanDuel only, yes, I know it's not available on FanDuel. But you know what? It's available on enough books, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars, and probably daily fantasy apps later in the day. It's available on enough books to where I can pick this one and not really even feel bad. If you want a slight pivot to this one, if you strictly only have FanDuel and don't want to get any other books, I would, maybe look at Philadelphia's team total over and runs. I don't even know what the odds of that are on FanDuel right now because they don't even have lines for it yet. But there's a world in which Mackenzie Gore goes over his earned runs, which is my pick, and they go under that team total. Like, they don't necessarily coincide. So that's just a pivot that I would look at because I think this Philadelphia offense is primed for some runs today. Yesterday, the Phillies were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Yesterday, 7 left on base. I was out at dinner, and of course I live in Philadelphia. They had the Phillies game all on TV, and I just I sat there shaking my head, kind of laughing every time they would blow a runner in scoring position opportunity, because that's kind of what they've done all year. They've really struggled to get those runners in scoring position into runs. But I think they get it against Mackenzie Gore today. If you look at Mackenzie Gore, he's coming in with a 3.89 ERA and a 1.41 whip. His expected ERA, which is something big, 4.8. So he's nearly at a 5 ERA if you factor in the expected ERA. And I think that's going to provide some run opportunities today. Gore's numbers, Austin and I always talk about the blue circles versus the red circles. He got a lot of bad StatCast numbers, 25th percentile in expected batting average, 25th percentile in expected slugging, and 29th percentile in walk percentage. So he is, when he's getting hit, it usually is dropping for a base hit or so, and he is putting free base runners on via walk. He's good at getting the strikeouts. We know that. That's kind of in his game to get the swing and miss. But the last time the Phillies faced him, they were able to get hits off of him. Gore went 6 innings pitched. He allowed 3 earned runs on 9 hits. Philly won that game in Washington 4-2. So they did hit Mackenzie Gore's over and earned runs last time they faced him. And I expect, being home in Philadelphia, they can do it today. The damage could have been a lot greater for Gore in that last start. Look at it. He gave up 9 hits. Normally when a pitcher gives up 9 hits, it's 4 or 5 earned run type performance. I just think if they duplicate that performance again, they were seeing him well, obviously, to get that many hits up on him. I think they can once again do it today. In June, the Phillies hit 271 against lefties, which is something I needed to see. And obviously it's July, but I think they can carry that over and that momentum in. And they're hitting 440 against lefties in their last 3 games. So again, they're seeing left-handed pitching well. There's a lot of very capable bats, be it Castellanos, obviously Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. I think Trey Turner has a big day today. I looked at his HRR prop, but it's too juiced. That's like minus 150. There's no value on that. But I think there is value on Mackenzie Gore's over and earned runs because I think the Philadelphia offense is clicking today. But Austin, got another team total for us? What you going with?
Yeah, Logan, I was looking at that game from the Phillies and trying to find a couple base props for you, but I really was looking at Trey Turner. I think he has a pretty good game, obviously swinging the bat pretty well. But for our third final pick, we're going to go to a team total. We've been on really well with these, and while I doubt this one is as sweat free as yesterday's was, I do like this one, and we're going to go to the Angels, taking their team total over 4.5, minus 125 on FanDuel. Now, I've seen this line on FanDuel go back and forth. I've seen it go up to 5 and back down to 4.5. Obviously, if you can get it at 4.5, I would much prefer to lay like minus 135 juice than having to take a 5 line. Why? Well, because naturally, a 5 line, you need 6 runs. You get 5 and you get a push, you need 6. And obviously, there's a pretty big, percentage difference between needing 5 for a win, between needing 6 for a win. So if you can get 4.5, get it. I think it's going to be available. I don't see it going up to 5.5 on a bunch of different books by first pitch. And normally DraftKings doesn't, put it at 5. They normally keep it either 4.5, a little juiced, or they put it to 5.5 for plus money. But either way, if you want to go to maybe a pivot, I think Mike Trout gets a hit, but I'd rather just take the Angels team total over 4.5, not rely on anything else. Because yesterday I talked about, I thought that the Diamondbacks team total would go over, and Christian Walker probably got a hit. No, he didn't get a hit at all. So like I said, sometimes it's better to not overcomplicate things. We've seen that before when I took Matt McClain to get a hit and the Reds team total over. They scored 11 and he couldn't get us a hit. But either way, why am I backing the Angels today? Because I'm going to the same game where we backed the Diamondbacks yesterday and they made it sweat free. Hopefully the Angels can do the same today. Now, yesterday the Angels, a big 4 hits as a team. If your name wasn't Mike Trout, Taylor Ward, or Shohei Ohtani, you didn't have a hit. Yeah, that's right. The guys that batted from number 4 all the way down to the 9 slot, I combined 0 for 21. And I'm here to report, here's my not so bold prediction. They're not going 0 for 21 again today. And if they do, this bet is not going to hit because we cannot get, unless Shohei absolutely just cooks them and goes for like 4 home runs. It's just not going to hit. But I think at the end of the day, I think this Angels offense shows up. And we've talked about time and time again. I mean, these are MLB hitters. There's a lot of inconsistency, a lot of variation in these pitchers and the pitchers and hitters that I think these hitters are going to turn it around. Now, let's talk about Mr. Nelson, who's going to start for the Diamondbacks. And you look at his ERA sitting at a 4.97 and a 1.45 whip. His expected ERA is a 5.06. So while some pitchers see their ERA at 5, they might have some positive regression coming their way. Yeah, not the case for Nelson. Now you look at his percentiles: 11th in K percentage, 15th in whiff percentage, 18th in expected batting average, 19th in expected slugging, 25th in hard hit percentage. So 1, not missing bats, and 2, getting hit pretty hard. And I think this is the Angels offense. Like I said, couldn't really do much yesterday. They got carved up by Tommy Henry. I mean, he went out there, 8 strikeouts. And while the strikeouts might be like, oh, that's a big number, I mean, Tommy Henry, 87th percentile in chase rate. You look at a guy like Nelson, only 19th percentile. So if Nelson can't get the swings and misses like Tommy Henry got yesterday, we know how much firepower this Angels team can, put up. And we saw them score 25 runs in a game. They're capable of things like that. The problem with them is inconsistent. So I like backing them after a bad start because I think they come in here and do pretty well. And this is the Angels team. If you can get them to strike out, you're going to have a good performance against them. But Nelson's just not been able to do that really consistently this year. Now you look at Nelson. Very similar to actually a guy like Mackenzie Gore that Logan is sort of fading today. Gore came off, I think Gore had a no-hitter going through like 5 innings in his last start. But similar to him, Nelson coming off a great start. He was against the Giants, went 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. And in fact, in 16 starts this year, Nelson only allowed 2 or less earned runs in 6 of them. So he's allowed more than that in a bunch of the other ones. In the previous 5 games where he went out there, actually pitched well, allowed 0 or 1 or 2 earned runs. The next following start allowed 5, 4, 1, 5, and 5 earned runs, nearly making this a no-sweat bet. Now, I say that because there are young pitchers out there just like Nelson, and these are guys that have great starts. They're feeling good about themselves. And the MLB, the baseball world, just humbles them real quick. We've seen that time and time again. They maybe don't prepare as well for their next start. They're like, yo, I had a cook in last start. I don't need to prepare for this one. And the baseball gods just say, no, that's not how baseball works. And this is Nelson that throws 54% four-seam fastball and then switches up the cutter, changeup, and slider about 12% each or so. So this could be an Angels team that could just sit waiting for the fastball. When that fastball comes in the top of the zone, if they're sitting waiting on it, this is an Angels team that obviously has the firepower to send it into the bleachers. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani could hit it out of the stadium for all I care. But I trust the Angels today. I think they have a good chance to get it done. I wish they weren't necessarily at home because we might only get 8 innings of hitting out of them. But I think at the end of the day, the Angels need to put up some runs to win this game. So I like them. I like them on the team total over 4.5. I think it's a pretty good one. I'll be riding with the Angels. Hopefully they get it done. But Logan, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Well, I am happy to see a July on the calendar. Like I said, the bad beats just culminated into yesterday's Reds loss. But you know what? We're not going to dwell on June. We're going to move on to July. And as we did last year, we finished out the year strong. We were solidly in the green. And we're coming for you, books. It's us versus Vegas. There's always some toxicity in the comments, but that's what you have to remember. Long term, we will be profitable.
100%. Obviously June wasn't great, but we're always transparent. We're always coming up here on video for you guys. So hopefully we have another winning day. That would be a 4th straight, and we are long overdue from that sweep. So let's try to get that sweep on the 1st of July. We'll see you guys back in. Enjoy your Saturday. We'll see you guys back again tomorrow morning for some more picks. Austin, Logan signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.